So just so you guys know, if you ever have a question about what did I say about this event or that event, I don't delete my videos off YouTube. So you can go back and look at videos that I uploaded in 2011, before and after all of this, and see what it was that I was saying. I don't delete those because I really am on here trying to find the truth. And even if that means that it turns out I'm wrong, you know what I'm saying? I really do want all of us to get to the truth. So I'm not on here trying to be right all the time. I'm just trying to get to the truth. So even if it turns out I'm wrong about stuff, I want that to help us get to the truth. You see what I'm saying? So that's why I'm doing this now, because I think it's important to look at the things that we've been wrong about so that we can understand what not to do in the future, and also to help us understand what the deception is about. You know what I mean? Okay, so let's just keep going here. I just want to point out one thing. I did upload a video back in 2011. It's called 20 Reasons That Elenin and YU55 Are Important Signs. And you might want to go just check that out one more time. Just because it actually does list all of the reasons why so many people were deceived. All of the different coincidences, you know, that were happening that were deceiving. A lot of really smart people were deceived by that. So if you want to understand that, you might go check out that video. And you know what? I might even link it below so that you can check that out, just so that we can understand what not to do in the future is all I'm trying to say. The next thing that I can remember was in 2011, I was talking about December 14th. Now, I'd completely forgot about this, so there's probably a lot of other stuff that is in my videos that I don't even realize were accurate predictions that I don't even know about. And a lot of people have actually come to me and say, hey, you predicted blah, 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 and then it happened. Or you had a vision of this, and then it happened. And so there's a lot of stuff that I don't even know that's not in my playlist that did happen. This is something that I just recently realized. Back in 2011, I had known, I don't know if you guys remember this, but remember I had this vision that that there was an object. Remember I saw the Asian guy and he was holding some object with a needle, and it pointed to the scroll and the time. This pointed to a certain time period, and I looked, and there was an asteroid, and there was all this weird stuff. And then remember I went and looked at the calendar, and I noticed that the calendar having to do with Elenin and YU55 and all this other stuff, the population reaching 7 billion. Remember how it made the exact shape of that object he was holding with the needle that went way down. And if you watch that video, and it's in my playlist, Proof the Visions Come True. And in that video, you'll see that December 14th was right where the needle was pointing. Well, nothing happened December 14th, 2011, but we all know what happened December 14th, 2012. And so there were all of these other, I guess you would just call them synchronicities having to do with that, because I had a vision where I saw the number 14, but I didn't know what month or if it was a year or what it meant. And then there was somebody else that noticed all the biblical connections to this person had predicted, and some of you guys will know who I'm talking about. I'm not sure if she wants me to mention her name, so I'm not going to. But she had predicted that she showed that there were all these biblical alignments pointing to December 14th, 2012. And she had had all these synchronicities as well with December 14th, just in her personal life. And there were all these other people that were having all these synchronicities having to do with December 14th as well. And then that event happened in Connecticut, the school shooting on December 14th. I've also shown that in my biblical chart down here, all these fulfillments that you see here were based on, these 3 fulfillments right here were based on a biblical chart that I discovered that is actually comes straight out of the Bible. It's just straight out of the Bible. And you can go look at that as well. But in that chart, it actually points to December 14th, 2012 as well. So there's something going on here, but I mean, like I said, I don't have all the answers. I'm just trying to figure this out. The next thing was the series of visions that I had in 2011 that were fulfilled twice. So there was a fulfillment in September 16th, October 29th, and Christmas Eve. And it happened in 2011, and then it happened again in 2012 on the same dates. You see what I mean? So on the same dates of 2011, there were fulfillments of visions that Jesus showed me. And then exactly a year later, there was a second fulfillment on the same exact days. So in 2011, September 16th, 2011, it was the start of the Occupy Wall Street movement that he showed me before it happened. And then the next thing was the Connecticut power outage, October 29th, that he showed before it happened. And then the next thing was the Connecticut house fire, where the whole family died, that he showed me before it happened on Christmas Eve. So the following year, you had again September 16th, the Feast of Trumpets, October 29th, Hurricane Sandy hit New York. And then on Christmas Eve, a house fire in New York. So it was a prediction that I had made based on those fulfillments of visions that there might be a fire on Christmas in New York. So Christmas or Christmas Eve. The actual event happened on Christmas Eve of 2011, where there was a Christmas fire. And so the prediction was there might be another one in New York this time because of how the pattern went. The pattern was New York, Connecticut, and then in 2012 the pattern was Jewish community, New York. So in 2011, it was Connecticut, and in 2012, it was New York. I know it's a little confusing, but in my playlist, Proof the Visions Come True, I actually show you what I'm talking about. So that video is in there of that prediction. So again, that was based on patterns that I saw that were developing in the visions themselves. Okay, now this prediction having to do with March 22nd, 2012. In February, first of all, a lot of us noticed a pattern that was developing in those mega quakes. So there were exactly 377 days from the axis shift in 2010 until the axis shift in 2011. 377 days. And then we noticed that from the very first axis shift in 2004, when the Indian tsunami happened, and I think it was like over 200 or 300 people, 200 or 300,000 people died in that. The Indian tsunami of 2004, there was a 377-day. If you divide, it was 5 years. There were 5 years from December 2004 until February of 2010, between those two axis shifts. So there was actually an axis shift at that Indian tsunami event. So the axis shift in 2004, December 2004, between that axis shift, which was 1 inch, and the axis shift that occurred in February 2010, that was 3 inches, there was a period of 5 years and 2 months. And if you divide that, up, if you divide the number of years, I can't remember how I did it exactly, but anyway, it came out to an interval of 377 days, okay? So what I surmised, first of all, was that maybe the next axis shift would happen after 377 days. That was the first thing I said. Okay, that was the first thought I had, and I made a video about it, and I said maybe March 22nd, 2012, because that's 377 days after the axis shift of 2011. You see what I'm saying? So from 2010, from the axis shift in 2010 until the axis shift in 2011, there were 377 days. So my first thought was maybe there will be 377 days until the next one. But then in February of 2012, I uploaded a video explaining that it might it might happen, and it probably will happen after March 22nd. And the reason that I said that was because if the axis shifts are being caused, and I don't know that they are, but if the axis shifts are being caused by an object that's entering our solar system, and it's causing some kind of gravitational trough or something that's going on there, if that's what it is, and if the object is accelerating, then it's not going to happen after 377 days. It's going to happen after more than 377 days. But I didn't know how many days because I'm not a physicist. And if I wanted to be a physicist or an astrophysicist, I would need to go get educated and learn the formulas and all of that, and it would take years. So that's the reason I stopped trying to predict the axis shifts, simply because I'm not an educated astrophysicist. You know what I'm saying? But the point is, I was right when I said that the event would happen after March 22nd because it's a longer interval. Okay, so you can go back. The video is still on YouTube. I uploaded it in like January or February of 2011, saying that the axis shift or the mega quake event would probably happen after March 20, not on March 22nd, but after March 22nd, because if the object was accelerating. So what ended up happening was that there were 3 megaquakes on April 11th, 2012. There were 3 8-pointers, and it was an unprecedented event that scientists were talking about. This unprecedented event of 3 8-point quakes. But I never heard any mention of an axis shift. So I pretty much dropped the subject after that because I thought, I don't know what's going on with that. I don't have the education required to make those kind of predictions. So I stopped trying to do that. That doesn't mean I won't try to do it again. It's just that's the reason I stopped. So that's what happened with that one, okay? So this next thing, Revelation 12, 1 through 5, was a complete fulfillment on October 16th, 2012. And please, if somebody disagrees with that, you're welcome to tell me the reasons you disagree with it. But it, you know, if people are going to disagree, I can't take up all of the comment section space arguing with every single person that says, oh, I disagree, period, end. No, I mean, if you're going to disagree, I mean, please state the reasons why you disagree. Do you understand what I'm saying? So don't just say, oh, I disagree, or no, it didn't happen on that date. No, I mean, that if you want to tell me why you think that that's wrong, then state the reasons for it. And I'm perfectly willing to debate with reasonable people. But as far as I can tell, and I've shown you the reasons why I say this, that every single requirement for the fulfillment of Revelation 12, 1 through 5 happened on October 16th, 2012. Okay, now these events right here that happened in February of this year, these events are all related to this chart that I discovered that came straight out of the Bible. So there's something going on with that, and I'm not sure what. But the next window on that chart, the next window of a possible event, I guess what I'm trying to say, is March 19th through the 22nd. And that's because we saw an event happen on this window here on February 5th matches this window here on March 19th through the 22nd. Okay, that's what I'm trying to say. And so that's what I'm looking, this is the major next time period that I'm looking at right now. And in this next video, because I'm running out of time, but in this next video I'm going to explain to you the reasons why I'm looking at that, and you can decide for yourself.